Alright, welcome back to the channel. We're here on TLT just before the team list come out. And yeah, so I didn't upload any videos over the weekend, didn't review any of the games. It was a pretty frustrating week for me, and in my spare time I just really didn't feel like doing it. And then yesterday I sort of just took a whole day off from looking at fantasy and everything, and it was just good to clear my head and sort of reassess the situation on some of my players before rage trading them out. And now I sort of feel like I can talk about it again, so here we are. What I thought I'd do is just go over my team, each player on my team, and what I'm looking to sort of do with them, and then if you have any questions about any other players, just drop a comment and I can give you my thoughts. So I scored a 747 in round 5, and I dropped from about 900th overall to 2,200, which is absolutely fine. Ranks will swing like that, and in a bad week where some of my players did pretty badly, I would not expect my rank to be going in the right direction. So yeah, we'll crack into Mamazalis. Played the 80 minutes, scored a 35, so nothing amazing, but the key is he's playing those big minutes, although the Rabbitohs did have a lot of injuries, which is why Hubner also played 62 minutes and got the 46 points. So going forward, Mamazalis, he's my only hooker, and I'm completely fine with that for now. If he just keeps getting named, keeps playing, I'm going to leave it at that, because there's really no other hookers that are, burning the house down at the moment. There's no one I need to buy, I think. So yeah, I'll just be leaving him like that, and I'll be holding Mamazalis for the foreseeable future. And also his break-even's only 29, so he's still going to probably make you more money. As goes for Hubner, his break-even's -3, made another 50k this week. I think if you still don't own him, you could potentially look to get on this week, but this would be the absolute last week to get on, because I don't think he's going to be getting 62 minutes a game. Probably more like 50, and he's probably going to score you those high 30 scores in that time. So that's probably going to take his price up to just under 500k. That's what I'd guess. But from here on, I'm probably going to look to start him in my 17. It seems like Wayne Bennett likes to have him out there, and he did pick up a Dally in point as well. So obviously the judges thought he had a pretty good game. So yeah, I'm pretty pleased about having him in my team. On to Payne Haas, scored a 42. It was just a really bad game. The Tigers versus the Tigers versus the Broncos. 5 players scored over 50, and 2 of those players did get 2 tries. So usually when players get 2 tries, they score more than high 50s, but it is what it is. So we had so many errors in this game. If we look in this column here, and penalties as well, loads of penalties. So a lot of stoppages, meaning the ball is in play for a lower amount of time, meaning that the players that rely on base stats to get their scores were just 10 points short of normal, I'd say. Like Payne Haas, 51 minutes, you'd expect him to score in the 50s there. He didn't offload. He had 2 offloads, which is absolutely fine. Walsh had a low one. May, playing 70 minutes, you'd expect him to score in the 60s. Twal, you'd expect him to score a few more points than that. And Seyfarth as well. Played the 80 minutes, didn't have any negatives really, and he still only scored a 30. So I think this game is basically a write-off, and I would just stick strong with whatever you project your players to be scoring, and just move on and go into next week with a fresh mind. So for Haas, I'm hoping for still 70. I'm hoping for 70 points. So we'll just have to see how that goes. They're playing the Roosters. I think he'll play it, 55 to 60 minutes for about 70 points if he can get that offload going again. But yeah, now that this has happened, obviously I'm tempted to move the captaincy back to Cleary, but it'll be a decision for later in the week. Maybe if we get some press conferences from the coach or something, maybe he'll give us some guidelines on Haas's minutes going forward, because at the moment it seems to be sort of swapping, with Carrigan being one of them plays bigger than the other, alternating games. But for Haas, he's definitely not a buy at the moment. His break even's 86, and yeah, his start to the season was really hot, and understandably people jumped on like me. But now that he's sort of in this patch, I don't think he's someone you'd want to be buying at the price, which seems a bit illogical. That we all jumped on before, but that's how sort of points chasing works, I guess. But yeah, definitely wouldn't be selling Payne Haas at all. He could easily score that 86 this week, and if you bought him in, like, he's a gun keeper. You just don't sell them no matter what, really, unless their role completely changes, where Payne Haas, his role has definitely not changed at all. So he's not a sell at all. Corey Horsburgh, really solid score again. Only played 51 minutes here, but while he's scoring in the 50s and his break-evens in the 40s, he's absolutely fine hold and fine to start every week, obviously, and a guy that I'll be wanting to own probably right up until they start having buys in round 15 or 13, I think it is. So yeah, really happy with him. Can't complain. Wish Ricky gave him a few extra minutes, but that's okay. Same goes for Nafahu White. Really happy with him. He's sort of settled into that 50-minute role. Lindsay Collins is now going to be out for up to 6 weeks with an MCL issue, I believe. And yeah, that can only mean good things for White. He should keep starting. He's been one of their best middle forwards, and the fantasy stats are reflecting that. So yeah, I think he's probably too expensive to be buying now, but he's still making money. But if you were buying him now, you'd expect him to be a keeper, and I think he's probably going to be just short of that. But the interesting note will be, obviously he'll have to carry the team sort of through the Origin period, because they'll be playing those major bye rounds. They'll be having buys. They have buys in round 10, 14 and 17, which are all standalone bye weeks. So I think White is a guy I'll be looking to hold on to for quite a while, because they'll be playing in all of the major and minor bye rounds, which you've got Angus Crichton, Lindsay Collins, not Radley. Who else? Let's have a look. Hard to think on the spot sometimes when you are recording. Oh yeah, so you'll have Crichton out of the team, potentially Tedesco, probably not. Connor Watson potentially, and Lenu as well. So in terms of the forwards, if they were lining up, they could potentially be without Watson, Lenu, and Collins, and Angus Crichton. Wow. So White could be playing huge minutes there. We remember how many minutes Terrell May played over the Origin period last year for the Roosters. So I think he's going to be a guy that can be held right up until after the Origin period, and then you could probably look to move him on to a gun keeper. So yeah, it's tough, because he could still be a buy for that reason. But he's getting pretty expensive now, so it's just one to think there should be better options out there this week, but we'll just have to wait and see on that one. Jermaine Hopgood, the source of some of my anger this round. He came on to start the game and played hooker, and he came off after 18 minutes and was on 3 points. So yeah, it was really frustrating. I just thought, the world was going to end, and he came back on and kind of saved his score. He played lock in his second stint, and the game went into extra time, so got an extra 4 minutes of gameplay there, and he ended up on 37, so lost a bit of money. His break-even's only 62, so that's definitely within his reach if he goes back to playing lock. It sounds like he will. If Brendan Hands comes into the team, it sounds like he was out with illness last week. We'll need Hands and Riley Smith to share that hooker role, have Hopgood very far away, never playing hooker ever again. That's what I think. And if he can just get that 55 to 60 minutes, I think he'll be absolutely fine. We got to just think back to when Isaiah Yeo scored 30 points. People wanted to sell him, and he's gone, 3 scores in a row in the 60s or something like that. And I really hope this is going to be the same kind of situation for Hopgood. A 37 is not as bad as a 30 as well. And honestly, if I was an Eels fan, I'd be wanting him out there all the time. I don't know why he's getting lower minutes, because he's a player that, when he's got the ball in the hand, he offloads, he's there, he got good link-up play as that ball-playing lock, and in defence, he always seems to find a way for turnover tackles. He tackles hard. You compare it to some of the other scrubs they play for minutes. It's just, it's really frustrating. You got offering Gowie, like he's reaching the twilight of his career. The rookie Tuiviti, he shouldn't be playing big minutes. Moretti as well, he didn't either. Geimer, he's okay. He's an up and coming rookie, but he shouldn't be stealing any minutes off Hopgood, in my opinion. You've got Dylan Walker, he's decent, but in terms of lock, Hopgood is a tier above. Hopgood's a origin quality lock. Riley Smith probably warranted to play big minutes at hooker. And then you've got Junior Paulo playing that huge 72 minutes. I really think that should be Hopgood, to be honest. But, Junior, obviously, decent offloader, good meters as well. So, I'm not a coach, but, man, it's puzzling. We'll just move on from that. I'll be holding him another week and keeping the faith, because he is, in theory, a keeper at the edge position, and after one sort of disaster week, I'm not going to be selling him. I'm going to give him another chance. Nathan Cleary. Now, he's my highest scorer this week. Really pleased I held on to him. He lost a bit of cash, about 30 to 40k, but now his break-even 72. Coming into the Dolphins, I think he will not be losing much more money, and I really want to captain him this week. If we think about it, the Penrith have lost 4 games in a row. They're near the bottom of the table. They're going to be absolutely desperate for a win. Cleary is pretty due to score a try as well. He hasn't scored one this year. And when Penrith are desperate, they're going to be throwing offloads. Cleary likes to throw offloads, and I'm pretty pumped to own Cleary in this one, and I think he's probably number one priority to be buying this week, especially that 99% of teams watching this probably have Jamie Humphries, who is injured, out for 4 to 5 weeks, or 4 to 6 weeks with a hamstring, so he's an absolute sell. And if you can go from Humphries to Cleary, I'd be doing that. Right now, I wouldn't even be waiting for team lists, so pretty happy about having Cleary in my team. Humphries got injured, the hamstring, 1 point. Can't get upset about injuries, you can't predict them, and you just got to be happy that it was a guy that is basically in everyone's team, so probably doesn't affect you too much. It's one where you'd be happy if you banked a few trades earlier in the season, because now you've got a situation where you're going to have to use a trade, and it's fantasy. You're going to get injuries, and Humphries did his job. He made us heaps of money, but now it's time to move on from him. Katoga, he's the one trade I used this week, so I transferred Iongi to Katoga. Scored a 44, got a try. Iongi scored a 59 with a try, but I think in the long run it's probably going to pay off, although I kind of wish I sold Jack Cole instead, but Jack Cole had a very low break even, and I obviously just couldn't foresee Iongi having a great game, but it's the Dragons, so anything could happen, and it did happen. Going forward, Ayongi is a guy where you kind of, if you did sell him, he's someone we're going to have to look at possibly bringing back, which does sound a bit backwards, but I think they've got one more game and then they have a bye. Let's just double check that, because I think what would be the best strategy would be to just see them go. Oh no, they've got 2 more games, so they've got Canberra and the Tigers into a bye, so I just don't know if you could go back into Ayongi with this kind of schedule, but if he does sort of put up decent numbers here, he could be someone to look into going into this game against Cronulla, especially if Mitch Moses returns there, where Eels could definitely be a team on the improve. So Katoga, though, definitely was a good buy last week, and 44 is very good, and I think this week he could still be a buy, break even of 2. If you were jumping on now, you'd want him to get up over that 500k mark. I think it's definitely possible. He's got that almost 80-minute roll on the edge nailed down, it seems like. So, yeah, I'm pretty happy about bringing him in at least. And he's one I'll be looking to start in my centre slot going forward. Tamale scored 41, was pretty quiet in the first half, and then he picked up some offloads and a line break in the second half. He had pretty good run meters as well. It was about 190. And yeah, I started him over Toya and Sandon Smith. But I'm not too upset about that. I was pretty skeptical of how these two would go against Latrell Mitchell and just Sandon Smith not scoring a try, but he scored another try. So yeah, going forward, it's going to be pretty tough choosing who to play out of my centres here each week, and also Sandon Smith. But yeah, 41, absolutely can't complain about that. He's an easy hold, he's still making money, and the dual position's very helpful as well. So happy days with Tamale. Same for Jenkins. Hopefully he jumped on this week. -2 break even, scored 42. Was robbed of a try as well. Casey McLean just had to pass them the ball, and he would have scored. So could have easily had a 50-pointer there. And Jenkins is a guy I'm pretty confident about starting each week. He got another 2 offloads, so he's a guy in a strong, a team that's lost 4 games in a row, but I still consider Penrith a strong team. I don't think they're going to be giving up this early in the season. I think they're going to have a really strong bounce back game against the Dolphins, and Jenkins could be right up there in the attacking returns. So I'm going to be starting him, and I think you could probably still buy him as well. Jaden Campbell had a lower game this week. They did get smashed by the Dolphins for their first win. They're coming into the Dragons. Jaden Campbell just, obviously when you get smashed, you don't really score many points. He's not going to go too well like we see with another fullback in another team, but Campbell still managed the 46. He had decent run meters, decent kick meters as well, but I think he had 3 errors and 3 missed tackles. So it's going to happen, but he's still averaging 59, and anything in the high 50s is just gold in this wing fullback slot. So yeah, not a single concern about Campbell, and I'll be starting him every single game and probably owning him for the whole season. Fingers crossed. Ruben Garrick, so they got smashed by the Storm, Manly did, and Garrick still managed to find a 39, so I'm pretty pleased with that. He got found out in defence by Jack Howarth on a scrum play, but that happens from time to time. And yeah, I'm not too worried about him. He's still averaging just under 54, and he's one I'm probably hoping to keep for as long as possible as well. I'll be looking to move him up into my centres sooner or later, but just for now, I had to start him at wing fullback. But yeah, not worried at all about Garrick, and I'm actually surprised he got up to 39 because it really didn't seem like he was doing much. But yeah, pretty happy about that. And then we've got the Broncos versus Tigers game where the scores were just a bit lower than expected. Safer, just the 30. He only had one missed tackle as well, so if the ball was in play for a bit longer, he would have picked up more tackles, maybe a few more run meters and an offload or something. So not worried about him at all. His break-even's still low at 33, and I expect him to average high 40s going forward. The dual position's also really handy, so no concerns over him, and I'll be holding. Same goes for Terrell May. I don't think anyone will be looking to sell him anyway, but just the 51 here, still a good score, and he's a guy that I'd still be looking to captain if you need to. He got 70 minutes in this one, so I don't think his minutes are going to be dropping anytime soon, and a potential captaincy option going into Newcastle. Toa, so he scored 2 tries, really impressed. 52, he did get a late sin bin, so it could have been a 59, but that's okay. He's making heaps of money. Hopefully everyone jumped on. He's still got a break even of 4. I don't think you can buy him now, because if he came out and scored like a 30, he's only going to make, or he scored you a couple of 30s, he's only going to make another 30k, and it's just not an ideal trade-in, I would say. But he's had a few good scores in a row, making really good money, and just enjoy the ride. And in terms of starting him, I think he's going to be a week-to-week proposition, trying to loop him with like a guy like Sam Smith or something. Against the Knights, he could potentially be a start, but yeah, just one I'm not too confident about, as he will not get those attacking stats every week. But yeah, I'm really happy with Stafford. And then Ponga, the other source of my anger. I watched the whole game last night. The Knights lost 20-0 to the Dogs, and yeah, it was just really clunky from Ponga. Wasn't too involved, and when he did try to get involved, things just weren't working. When he was trying to like find passes with his team, and then his team would just drop the ball, so they just couldn't get anything going. And it would have just been frustrating for him as well. And they were doing a lot of carries out of their own half, and he's not really a guy that takes those carries as well. And obviously they scored 0 points, so he didn't get any attacking stats or anything. So I'm just going to put this one down to the Dogs are a really good defensive team, and the Knights couldn't crack them. But they run into the Tigers at home this week, who just conceded 46 points to the Broncos. So I'm absolutely holding Ponga. I think if any game to redeem himself, it is this one. He could easily hit his break even of 80. And I just don't think the Knights are going to score 0 again, and they're going to come out with a point to prove, I think. It's like, yeah, after you score 0 in a game, you're really going to be coming out firing the next week, you would hope. So I will be holding strong with Ponga, and yeah, I really hope he can score me something good, because I wish I'd love to move him on to like a James Tedesco, but Ponga he has the role of a keeper. If we just look at his stat line and go over it, scored 25 points. See, he has 194 kick meters. That is really important. His run meters were down only 97, but that's still not horrible. Just the 2 tackle breaks and a line break assist. So ideally you'd be wanting maybe 50 more run meters, a couple more tackle breaks, an offload in there, a line break or a try assist, and he's right back up to the kind of numbers we're looking for. So I just think that even if he has a few more low games, people are going to probably look to buy him. The Knights still have a really good draw going forward. If we have a look at it, so they're coming up against the Tigers at home, and then we wait for the load. The Sharks, the Warriors, Rabbitohs, Titans, Eels. So all teams that, they're not the best teams, but they're not the worst teams either. I'm just glad that it's not the Storm and no more Bulldogs as well. But yeah, I'll leave it at that with Ponga. We'll move on to Jack Cole. So scored just a 16-pointer here. Came off in the last 10 minutes with an HIA, which he supposedly failed. So he made a bit more money here. If he is not named this week, you could use him as a looper, but you could also look to sell. And we've just seen, again, with clearing the team, Cole is someone that we cannot trust in our starting 17, and he's a guy we're probably going to be looking to sell pretty soon. But I'd definitely be looking to move on from Humphreys first, just because Cole does have the potential to make a bit more money, and he'd only be missing 1 week, so you could use him as a looper if you like. But yeah, definitely going from here on forward, do not start him in your 17. Alright, Sandon Smith scored another try, scored the 46, and yeah, I had him in my emergencies. I just didn't think he'd be scoring this many tries, but I'm still happy for him to make money. He's still got a break even at 21, so he's one I'll be holding on to, I'd say, and one I may even have to start this week if I don't have any other halves, but I could probably actually just chuck Ponga in my wing fullback and move Campbell up, so I'll probably actually do that. But yeah, Sandon, I think without the try would have been a score in the low 30s, so I think my decision of putting him in slot 6 I'm pretty happy with, and I think going forward I'll probably keep him down there, especially when they're coming up against the Broncos. I don't know how well he'll go there. He could get a few missed tackles, so yeah, one that you can look to sell potentially, but easy hold as well, and one you can probably keep starting if you want to, if you think he's going to keep getting some attacking stats each game. One I'm more confident about though is Robert Toyer. I think he definitely passed the test for me. I was a bit nervous about starting him due to marking up against Latrell, but he scored a 46, only missed 1 tackle, and he's really put his case forward for me to be starting him in my 17 every week. And yeah, even up against Broncos, Stafford Toa, the right centre for the Broncos, for the Tigers, just played the Broncos and scored 52, so I think Toya is a guy that, I see him get like high 30s, even against the Broncos, and I'll be pretty happy with that in my centre slot. He's still making great cash, and yeah, easy hold for Toya. Wouldn't look to sell him at all. And then finally we come to Gilbert. I held on to him, although I wish I had have traded him to Couchman, but I don't actually think I had enough money to do the move if this eventually loads. Couchman. Man, I think I may have actually just been able to do it, but unfortunately I did not. That's okay. I think I came to the decision I wanted to hold him, as I just thought his game with 11 missed tackles is just something that's not going to happen every week, and if he even made just 5 of those tackles, it would have been a score in the high 40s. So yeah, I think I'm going to give him another week. His break even's only 45, so I don't think he's going to go too far below that. And obviously he doesn't have a bye coming up. I wanted to kind of use him as a loop, even though I didn't have to use him, but I think he's still a guy. He's still the captain of their team. He's going to be out on the pitch for as long as possible. So yeah, I think I'm going to continue holding Gilbert probably, although Couchman is pretty tempting. But yeah, that is my team. I'll go over... I'll just quickly look at my trades and review those, I guess. So yeah, Purdue to Humphreys, that's worked out well. I had to get Humphreys in somehow, but now Purdue's made about 130k, so bit frustrating there, but I'll have to accept it. Couldn't have everyone. Duffy to Toa, that's been a really good trade. Toa at 280k, and he's already made about 150 since I bought him, so that was good. Watson, Metcalf out for Jenkins and Haas. I think Jenkins in has been really good. Haas not so much, but Watson didn't play the 80, got a 47, so I'm not too upset about letting go of him at this point, but we'll just have to see. Probably preferred to do Ponga. And then Metcalf out, we'll just have to see. The Warriors are playing the Storm this week, so I don't know how well he's going to go against them. And then obviously Yongi to Katoga. Tough one to take, but someone had to go to get Katoga in. I just didn't think Yongi would do that well. But yeah, this week I'm potentially looking at doing this. So if Jack Cole is out, or even if he's still in, and Savala is named for the Roosters, I think I'll probably be looking to do this. I want to get Isaiah Yeo in. Really nice 77k discount on him. I don't think he's getting any cheaper. So yeah, this is my early trade thoughts here. And I'll leave it at that. So if you got this far, it feels like I've been recording a while. Good on you. Drop me a comment if you have any questions on any other players. I'll get back to you when I can. And I'll look to record a couple more videos during the week once the teams have come out, and maybe a bit of a deeper dive into some options as Humphrey's replacements. So yeah, I'll catch you in those videos.